When we discussed self-assessment earlier in the course, we spent time looking at your non-academic qualifications. When a university accepts you, they are accepting all of you, not just the student, but the student athlete, or the student leader, or the student musician, or the student that also helps run the house, or even the student who works an after-school job. You're not just a student, you're also a person. Remember, there is that entire second question about fit that takes this idea into consideration. The question is, beyond your academics, who are you? The way for a school to get to know the outside of the classroom you is through your activity list or resume. The difference between the two is that your activity list will be a part of almost every application form that you fill out. There will be a section where you list your activities, usually in their order of importance, that is, how important they are to you. Some application forms allow you to list a lot of activities. The Common App, for example, allows you to list up to 10 activities. Other application forms will limit how many activities you can list so that you have to focus on the activities that are most important to you. The University of California application, for instance, only allows you to list 5 activities, although specialized activities can be listed in other sections. Submitting your activities list will be part of submitting your online application form. Now, a resume is an entirely separate document that is not part of an application form. Since a resume is not a form, you will create the document and establish the formatting and style. Some schools will allow you to submit a resume as part of your application, but others will not. Even if a school does give you the opportunity to submit a resume, you still need to fill out the activity list section of the application form. Your resume is intended to enhance that information, not to replace it. Resumes are submitted differently. For some schools, you will attach or upload your resume to the school supplement or the application form. For other schools, you will have to email or send your resume separately. Always make sure that a school wants a resume before sending this extra piece. Now, regardless of whether you're filling out an activity list or building a resume, there is specific information that you need to include. Now, this might seem obvious, but you need to list the name of the activity. If the name of the activity is an acronym like SADD, S-A-D-D, which actually stands for Students Against Destructive Decisions, you need to list the full name. More important than the name is information about what the activity is or what the group does. If I told you I was part of the Impact Club, does that mean anything to you? This could be anything from students making an impact through community service to physics students mathematically measuring impact. If you don't define and describe the activity, the reader is not going to know what it is. Now, obvious activities like the soccer team don't really need to be explained. When it comes to what you do, I hear lots of interesting ideas from students. For instance, many students feel that doing community service is necessary to be accepted at a U.S. school. What you get involved with speaks to who you are. If you care about community service, then you should participate in community service. But if you care about building robots, then you should be building robots. Activities are not given points based on what the activity is, but the nature of the activity will give an impression about the nature of you. When it comes to activities, admission counselors are looking for quality, not quantity. The quality of your activities comes through your level of commitment to those activities. So, if you have 10 activities listed and you dedicate 1 hour per week to each of them, to an admission officer, that shows a commitment to activities, but nothing more, since you have not committed more time to anything specific. Now let's take that same 10 hours per week and split it between 4 activities. For one activity, you dedicate 5 hours per week, another 3 hours per week, and the final 2 you give an hour each. It's the same 10 hours per week, but does it say the same thing? By the way, 10 hours is just a number I picked. It is not a guideline. To show commitment to an activity, remember to list 3 important details: the number of hours per week you spend on that activity, the number of weeks per year that you spend on that activity, and how long, months or years or both, that you have participated in that specific activity. Participation is great, but to be valuable, a reader also wants to know your role in the activity. You included information about what the group does. Also make sure that you include information about what you do for the group. Are you the founder of the club, or the president, or the social media coordinator, or the events organizer? What you do within the group also says a lot about who you are. If you or the group were recognized in any way, make sure that you list honors, awards, citations, and achievements, either personally or for the group. Which also brings up a question that I'm commonly asked. How do I prove that I participated? Or how do I prove that I won an award? Do I need to send documents to prove it? No. Honestly, admission counselors have enough to read without flipping through a booklet of certificates and awards. Many students and parents will spend a lot of time and money putting together these booklets, but they're really not used by admission offices. Before submitting your application, you have to virtually sign the application form and agree to a statement that everything you put in your application is true. Listing your activities and awards is all you need to do to prove it. Everything else is just extra paper. You spent time thinking about your non-academic qualifications during self-assessment. What did you come up with? Remember to think broadly. Almost anything can be considered an activity. Think about groups and clubs, hobbies and interests, things you do for fun, and things that you do that you're responsible for. Think about how you spend your time from when your last class ends until you fall asleep at night. If you have shown commitment to something, anything, it can potentially be an activity. How important are your activities to admission decisions? Well, you guessed it, it depends. Some schools really won't care about what you have done or what you have committed to. They put emphasis on other pieces of the application. Other schools are going to care a lot about what you have done and what you have committed to. Some of those schools will want to see depth in your commitment, great commitment to one activity. Other schools will want to see that you're a well-rounded student who is committed to several different activities. The reality is, no matter how important or unimportant your activity list is, schools still ask for the information on the application form. If they ask for it, they're going to read it. And if they're reading it, it is contributing to their impression of who you are. Now take out your calendar. If you're a person who's involved with a lot of activities, add time to your application plan to organize your activity list. If you're someone who wants or needs to write a resume, add time into your plan to draft and revise a resume. If you're a student with little or nothing to add to an activity list or resume, add getting involved onto your application plan. It might be too late to show commitment, but it's never too late to get involved.